2022, Hallmark made a Kwanzaa holiday movie. And so one, why so late? Why did you take it all this time? And two, why this is as we're recording in the autumn of 2023, why don't we see another one on the schedule? So, that to start with. Oh, I have another question. Why don't you put Kwanzaa in the title? Or something that at least would alert the people who know that this is going to be a Kwanzaa movie, because in the Hanukkah films, some of them did not have any reference to Hanukkah in the title. That means, how can I find it? And I would imagine this is the absolute same thing. It not only just imagine, it's like I watched it last year, and to find it back, I was like, what was it called? I had to literally Google, what was the Kwanzaa movie of 2022? So, it's called Holiday Heritage, which is a fantastic title and is descriptive of what
about
happens.
5,000 different
Yes,
Christmas
which
movies.
heritage? Which holiday? I mean, I honestly think that the people who came up with this title worked really hard to not put the word Christmas in, because we know that all the Christmas movies have that style of Christmas movie has the word Christmas in it, or Santa, or a reference to what we're doing. Please be clear. Yeah, we're going back. We're going again to small town America. Not terribly small town. It's not like up a mountain, but because some of these Christmas movies really like to tell you that is the place to go if you want to live halfway up a mountain in the village where your parents grew up and where you grew up, and you don't want to live in the big city. Okay, fine. That's a message. Cool. This one is actually, I would imagine, a medium-sized town, and it is it's called Mary's Town. So it's really nice, and our main protagonist is Ella, and she's a career girl. She is a graphic designer. So far, so standard Hallmark. However, she has a mother and a grandmother. Now I like, because now we're going up the chain rather than down the chain. Usually somebody walks around with a child and we have an explanation why there's no partner anymore. Somebody died or there's a divorce, but usually somebody died, because that's a lot more pathos. No, in this case we're going up the chain. We have the mom, Micah, and we have the grandma, Tess. And so we have a cast full of women. I like, we're going in the right direction. And there's going to be baking, because you cannot do a holiday movie without baking. The ex is Griffin, who also happens to be the mayor. He's a young mayor, and the moment that Ella goes back to the hometown, because she needs to sort out family affairs, whatever. People are making decisions and she's disagreeing with them, going, mind your own business, you went out of town, you went for your career, why not everybody else? And then she talks to Griffin, and he's like, whoa. And that's not very usual for these films, because it's usually well, of course, in this case, he understands more about the holiday season than she does, because that is how these movies go. But he's not into her, because she dumped him. So again, we're doing something different, and I like it, because it gives a different flavor to it. And by this time, I've forgotten that I looked for a Kwanzaa movie. I'm looking at, everybody's black. That's, so what? Everybody's black. Well, it's the whole family is black, but he's black as well, and he grew up orphaned. So her grandfather, I think, Ella's grandfather, was meaningful to him, or it was the father, but it was somebody, and they were that guy was the mayor, and then this younger guy, Griffin, takes over and runs for mayor and gets it. And that's it. I like that the whole thing is not about talking to white people, about explaining to white people, because we did that with all the Hanukkah films, not all of them, but like the first run-up of the Hanukkah films, the first 5 years or so, it was all about, let's explain to like the goy out there, the world, or the Gentile world out there, about how Hanukkah works. No, this movie is like not bothered, which I think is a lot better. It's also better storytelling. But if we want to know more, there's Wikipedia, right? So why would you take somebody by the hand and go, oh, let me explain to you how Kwanzaa works? No, you're either watching it or you're not watching it. And by 15 minutes into the movie, we have not even had the word Kwanzaa drop in the entire thing. And that could be, on the one hand, very brilliant, on the other hand, is like, why? But I felt it was brilliant because it was like, oh, we have this graphic designer, career woman, and she's phoning her mom from back home, and her mom's got some like, no, I'm getting out of town now. I'm done with grandma. I can dig it. One can be done with grandma, you know. But grandma had just lost her husband, so that was very sad. So I'm into this. I'm like, they've hooked me on the story, and then she takes out. It's not she finds grandpa's chest for Kwanzaa. No, she actively goes look for it because she's like, I need to pull the family together. I mean, we have this kind of storytelling, so it's gonna be that kind of thing. However, it's like, oh, I'm gonna do Kwanzaa this year, and pulls out grandpa's chest for Kwanzaa with the things in it. And literally, at that point, it's like, oh yeah, we're doing this. And I like it. Because it was literally, this is how the story is being told. This is good storytelling. The McGillicuddy or the weapon or the plot device doesn't come out until you need it. And then it slowly rolls into, we're doing this and we're doing this for serious, which is what she is taking everybody on that trip. I called it a gentle introduction to Kwanzaa, and they called it a cultural medicine for black families. So I can't comment. I think it's actually what they were doing, the day after Christmas, which in the Netherlands would be second Christmas Day. But, in Anglophone countries, you have Christmas Day, and then you may have Boxing Day, but that's not as much of a holiday, I think, as in the Netherlands. Second Christmas Day is definitely still Christmas. So it's that until the 1st of January, and every day of that, something gets done. So you got 7 days, and there's 7 principles, so I'm going to run them down really, really quickly, because I had to pause the screen to get them. Unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. These can help you be a better person. Now, that is literally true. One of the things I found extremely interesting was cooperative economics, because where are we without that? You cannot form community if you do not make agreements on helping each other, forming societies, sharing things, like giving each other when and just as simple as a Christmas dinner and people bring stuff, just so many things are nicer. Self-determination, I think, is one of the most important things in life, but especially in a society where you have shelter and food, and you have the absolute surviving basics sorted. Then self-determination is really the next thing that needs to be on the list. So they take the plot pieces for all the characters for some of these days, and it furthers their their development. So I thought this was a really good Kwanzaa movie, especially when in the beginning I'm feeling like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm watching like the standard romantic holiday movie, and that's already, it's a lot more. And I think the basics of family and having values. So this Griffin, who wants to be a mayor in this town, and he is the mayor in this town, he was also dealing with the grief of her grandfather who died because he was such had been taken under the wing of this family. So everybody was dealing with grief in their own ways. And their self-determination is like, okay, Ella wanted to go be a graphic designer. She's now deciding to make family priority, at least for this holiday. But Griffin had decided, no, being a mayor in this town and pulling people together, that's his something that's going to give him lasting purpose in life. So, yep, it works. The mom, she still goes off to find her own career, and the grandma, gets to share the grief and gets a chance to get over it. So it works for me. I think it's one of the better Hallmark style and Hallmark itself holiday movies. And I didn't see a lot of, when I was Googling for it, I didn't see a lot of reference to it, which is, okay, these movies are a dime a dozen, and you really want them to make something that has something more in it. And this one does. So, raise the profile, change the titles. Can't change the title retroactively, but couldn't it be like Holiday Heritage, a Kwanzaa story, or something like that? Or because you literally need to put it on the tin for people to buy the tin and open it up. This is my problem with that. It's like we've had. Yeah?
Is this one of the few actually black movies that we know about?
Most of the people are black. You got the traditionally, like, the white protagonist and the person of color best friend. That's so standard in these movies, and they switched it. So there's the white black best friend. Sorry, the white best friend. The best friend of Griffin, though, is also a person of color. And there's romance there, and that's something they're starting to learn, is you don't want just the main couple to have a romance. You want to hint at other people having a life and having a romance as well. I think that's another development in the making of these types of romance movies, is that we want more, because in romance novels you get that as well. It's like, okay, we've now done 3 books on this couple, but we have all these other characters that we love, and what about them? We want them to be happy too. So that's now making it into these movies, and that really works, because then you can go to the next stage and the next stage. And in the Evergreen movies series, which is a cinematic universe, Hallmark cinematic universe, they started with white people, and then there was a black side character, and then there was finally, like, the third or the fourth one was she gets a love interest and he was also black, and that's fine. And there's also, like, mix it up please. So for me, and this movie mixed it up, because you had the 2 of them, you had her family, so effectively a black cast, and then you had the 2 best friends, one of which was a person of another color, and one was white. So that, I prefer that. This keeps falling off. So the various unusual bits in this movie, which I really enjoyed, and they should do that. No, they shouldn't do that more in these movies. It's just when it's appropriate. But there was actual caroling, rather than we talk about caroling and we say that people have caroled in the past or may carol in the future. picture. But they actually sang Silent Night at the Christmas tree outside.
In a Kwanzaa movie.
In a Kwanzaa movie, because they do Christmas first, then they do Kwanzaa, and then and that ends on the 1st of January for the new year. And I assume that's like the day of 1st of January, but I haven't checked that out. So there is actual prayer before the Christmas dinner. You see that very rarely in these movies. So they're saying, no, this is an actual observing Christian family. And it's like I said, they don't do that. They don't actually do a lot of like going to church in the Hallmark movies. There is reading of the night before Christmas to the family. This was a scene with only adults, and they're just saying, "Aw, can you please read that?" And they just sit and they listen. And this resonates with me because my family, my mother, used to read, and sometimes still does, at Christmas. And we all sit there, and there's candles, and there's a Christmas tree, or not. Then there may be more candles. And it's just lovely. And this is the kind of thing that you can do this tradition or any other tradition. But my belief is, as long as you do some tradition with each other, and you are there with each other at a set moment, that's a tradition. And then that builds community, that builds family, because you feel like, okay, next year we're going to be sitting there again, and we're going to be either eating together or we're making cookies together, whatever it is. But in American movies, I think I've only ever heard people read a story to another when it's children involved. And this was not about that. So I like that. There was something called a libation reading, and I don't pretend to know anything about that. There was dancing in a drum band, which is like, okay, now, and that's where they get dressed up, because they take out all the clothing that goes with the Kwanzaa festivities, and they are like African style clothing. Again, don't ask me about the fashion because I don't know. But it looked awesome, and it was just like, and they're going for it, and this is the only way to do it. The last two Hallmark produced Hanukkah films went for it. They just said, we're doing it. They're not standing there apologizing or saying, okay, world, this is
pussyfooting. We hate pussyfooting.
Wide world, this is kind of, we want to show this. Can we just, take you along? It's like, no, just do it. Who's going to watch these movies anyway? People who are interested. So it doesn't matter. And if you do it right, you tell a good story. And in 2022, the one of the highest ranking, and for a lot of people, it was the best Hallmark holiday movie, was the Hanukkah one, Hanukkah and Rye. So, hey, we want to watch stuff. We want to see things. We want to see things that doesn't happen in our family. We want to see things that does happen in our family. I know that there are people out there who only want to see the same thing over and over and over again, and there's plenty of that out there as well. But please give us diversity. So I love the clothing. So after watching the movie and having a big grin on my face, going, that was nice. Yes, give us more. No, there's not. As far as I can tell, there's nothing planned. So please give us more. And then I was like, okay, but what did I just hear? Because there were some terms that I couldn't. I knew it was a foreign language, so apparently that's Swahili. And that's also quite unusual for films like this, to actually have anything in another language. Of course, the Hanukkah films had some of the Hebrew in there, and that's awesome. So please keep doing it. All the actors were great. We have, for the mom, we have Holly Robinson Peete. She was Judy Hoffs in 21 Jump Street, and I was looking at her going, I know you. And so, you know, these actresses, they're just amazing. Actors as well. I know they're doing it on a very big time constraint. The for this one, the snow looks real. That's not always the case. So I don't know how they did that. I don't know where they filmed them. But please keep doing that. Write some more. And yeah, go ahead. More own voices. We want to hear it. We want to see it. And I highly recommend this movie. And I also hope they're making more for this year or next year. And that was my opinion. And I'm sticking to it.